Okay, hello. My name is Scott Robertson, and today's lecture is going to be focused on designing video game vehicles and my approach to doing that. And so I first want to start by going back a bit, and when I started to think about this lecture and how to compose it, it's all very logic-based for me, coming from the industrial design process. So review of that, I think, will be beneficial because when it comes right down to it and trying to vocalize a design process, I had to go back and try to categorize areas of study or expertise to focus on to help you become a better vehicle designer. So for me, it starts with this category, the nature of things. And it's a process or areas of study that I think if you pursue, you can apply to any subject. And so this first series of slides will be about more about a learning path than specific vehicle discussion. And then we'll get to the vehicles and loop back to this process and how it can be applied to different subjects. And in this case, mostly video game vehicles. So the nature of things. The nature of things can be categorized for me as things like anatomy, if you're a sculptor, structure, or if you're an engineer or an architect, it can be architecture, science, technology. It's essentially it's how the things are built and how they function. And so those for me are the two most important things to get a deep understanding of before you move on and really have the ability to design something from your imagination that has a realism to it that people will understand and relate to. The next category, after you have a sort of an idea of that you need to know some engineering and how things work, is to build your, what I like to call visual literacy. This is also about building your visual library so that it allows you to recombine things that you've observed, whether it be the proportions of a tank or the size of a battleship, etc. So simply put, it's really the observation of how the world looks and why. And once we get to the why part, it loops back to the nature of things. So again, this sort of second area of study would be visual literacy. And again, you see these little arrows. These are sort of all disciplines, right? They're all pointing into this little guy here, and he's going to become our design guru. So through areas of study, of which there's going to be 4, he can build the skills and the mental picture he needs, or she needs. We don't really know where this little alien design guru is. And then you can start to recombine and create original content that people will like and respond to. Okay, our next slide, we've added another category. In this case, design philosophy, especially with vehicles. There's been a lot of effort and a lot of study, and you can build on that. You shouldn't try to start from scratch. I mean, the vehicles have been, such a well-developed category. You can build on it by exploiting what people have done before you. So learning things about in the context of proportions, studying things like the golden section, or if you're doing more organic things, studying biometrics and how physical bodies move. So that's another category. MVIP, that stands for Mobility Vision Integration Process. It's a very cool website. Maybe I'll pull up the website a little bit later. We'll talk about it. It helps you as a good starting point to visualize a future scenario that your vehicles might fit into. So the big message here is that, right, the historic human intellect applied to design. There's been a lot done in this category, and there's a lot to learn. So there's a lot of well-documented books like Universal Design Principles, Constructing the Universe, things like that. And you can start to build a bank, or again, back to your sort of visual literacy or library. These proportional studies, things that the human brain responds to can really help when it comes time to start to design something that's, believable, because you understand how the physics and the engineering works, and then applying some sort of proven aesthetic proportions and graphic design principles, etc., into your visual literacy of the specific vehicle types. So that's kind of our third category out of 4. And we're going to, again, all these things are going into this little guy's brain. So let's go to the 4th category. Okay, here we are. The 4th category is this is an Art Center College of Design term, VisCom. It's short for visual communication. So you've spent all this time and you've observed a lot of the way things look, and you've started to put that into your brain. You've done some research and watched shows on how things are made. You've done some engineering research about the specific vehicle type that you've been asked to design, and then you've got a good foundation in your design philosophy, how things go together, graphic design foundation, etc. Now you need to communicate with the rest of the world. And so this is where the visual communication skills come in. So that things like drawing, rendering, model building. And the model building, it can be anything, digital, ZBrush, Modo, Maya, etc. Or physical modeling, like, going out to the shop or your garage and grabbing a lump of clay and blocking out a shape. It can also be things like photography, collage. There's a lot of things you can do here. But at the end of the day, you've done all this research and you've increased your knowledge, and now you need skills to communicate with the outside world. So the reason you need those skills is because ultimately what you're trying to do is create a design process. So for me, when I talk to my other concept design colleagues and I try to break down these categories, I think that they're pretty good, big, visual and intellectual areas of study. Sort of obviously the visual being a bit more over here on the right, and the stuff on the left, a little more engineering and structure related, and then design philosophy. And ultimately, all those things have combined, to help you, the future design guru, figure out this, which is the design process. So we're going to take this design process, which builds on these areas of study, and then I'm going to share with you my design process when I apply it towards vehicles, and that's going to really be the focus of the rest of the lecture. So let's move on.